I really did just gaslight the whole country. So that was when I thought standing out in Japan is super easy.
Did you have an actual dream behind the big talk, or was it more just for fun?
Like, I'm kind of in a process. It's my training arc. I'm like basically in a cave, like a comedy cave.
It's like the time skip in One Piece.
Yeah.
Interesting. Hey there, and thank you for tuning in. We're excited to bring you another great conversation today. If you like the show and want to support us, please hit the subscribe button so we can keep bringing you great content week after week. And if you're feeling extra generous, give this video a like and share your thoughts and comments down below. Thank you so much. And now, let's get into it. Welcome to Unpacking Japan. I'm Toby, and today we welcome Wakkyai, also known as Wakkyai. You're a comedian here in Japan.
Yes.
You grew up in LA, California, where you spent all your childhood, I think, and you only came back to Japan in 2017. But your family's originally from here.
Yes, my family originated from Miyagi Prefecture and Kanagawa. I was born in Kanagawa, but before I even grew any consciousness, I was moved to the United States, outskirts of LA.
What was it like then when you started growing consciousness in California and you grew up surrounded by a culture maybe different from your home culture?
Well, the acceptance was really fast because it was what I had around me. Like, I didn't really have a choice. I didn't really think of myself as an immigrant. I was just Wakkyai in Torrance. And Torrance is a city with a lot of Japanese and Asian residents.
Oh, okay.
I think 1/3, maybe a little bit less than 1/3, but it's a very mixed neighborhood.
You spent your whole childhood, your teenage years there, and in 2017, you decided to come back to Japan.
Yeah.
And what kind of motivated that return here?
Well, Japan was always part of my background, so I was always interested. I only came back sometimes to meet my family, but that was about it. I've always wanted to live in Japan, and probably one of the biggest motivation was going to a university in Japan.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of notorious for having like a really easy route into a prestigious Japanese university. I think you'll hear it from a lot of foreigners or Japanese people that experienced foreign years.
So you're saying that if you live overseas and have like an overseas education, it's easy to get into the top universities within Japan?
Yes, I was able to enter Kyoto University, which is probably the second. It's known for being like the second most prestigious university after University of Tokyo. And honestly, it was very easy for me. Like, it is a very small like entrance thing. I was the only guy to make it through the exam that year in my faculty, but still.
Why is it so different to kind of enter the university from overseas as opposed to go like the typical route? Because the typical route is known to be very, very difficult.
Yes, very, very difficult.
For people that are in high school here, they maybe have to work a lot.
For context, I'm gonna say that I graduated high school, American high school, a public school, South Torrance High School to be exact. I was like in the 70th or 80th percentile. I would consider myself to barely make out of high school. My GPA was somewhere in the 2s. Sometimes I didn't even get credit for math or English classes for not turning in homework and stuff. So I had to go through summer school. I was that kind of student.
So why decide to go to Kyoto University, which is a prestigious university here in Japan, and where, well, you're probably going to go down a more academic path or at least study to get your degree? And
well, I thought it was just cool. Like, it didn't really have any real motivation academically. I did pass Waseda University and Keio University and Kyoto University at the same time. I just chose Kyoto University because I thought it was the only way I would actually live in the Kansai region if I were not to get into Kyoto University. And going back, why I think it's easier for foreign students or foreign experienced students to go into a Japanese university, because they already take like super smart kids from Japan. I don't think they really need another smart student from like a different way of an entrance exam. They want like a different person, not like a smart person.
So it's more for diversity.
And there's this thing called McDonald's theory.
Okay.
Like when we want to choose where we want to eat out, saying McDonald's is like a really bad idea, right?
Okay.
Like if we're like trying to eat out like for a fancy dinner or something.
Yes.
Saying McDonald's is like,
I'm with you there.
Yeah, it will be like, hey, what are you saying? Like that's not a good idea. But saying a bad idea actually like kind of stimulates the conversation. It's a way for other people to say their opinions if there's like a really bad idea that came out initially. Japanese people don't speak out.
Mm-hmm.
They have potential, knowledge, and different other stuff. But unless there's like the first penguin doing something, like kindness is a thing too. So I experienced this like at like a crosswalk or something. A woman, like she fell over and like spilled like a lot of documents and stuff. Japanese people are kind. But until when I went up and helped her out, everyone was just watching. But when I went and helped her out, a lot of Japanese people joined me. So they have the kindness, but unless they have like the first stimulus, like it's hard for them to put out their potential, their kindness potential out. And I think that works in like different segments.
So in the case of university, the idea is that you have maybe foreign students or students educated overseas coming to those universities, and to kind of bring out the potential as well
like
into
the aggressiveness that the foreign students have. I think that's what they want. So then their other smart Japanese students can join in the conversation stuff. And I think that's what they really wanted from the students that were coming from the overseas.
McDonald's theory. I'll have to remember this, and I'll observe my surroundings moving forward and see.
Like saying a stupid thing isn't always a bad thing.
So you came back to Japan. Did you feel any reverse culture shock?
Yes, like watching items outside of the supermarkets, like outside of the supermarkets.
Okay, yeah, in the boxes, the vegetables, for example, and so on.
Like
that was a culture shock.
Like tissues and like other stuff, like at pharmacies, like looks like a free giveaway from like a foreign perspective. Like anyone can take it and run away, but just like the trust system and stuff like that.
Interesting. So did it take you time to adapt to life here?
So that's the interesting part. I have an American attitude, but I have a really Japanese look.
Mm-hmm.
So the acceptance part, it didn't take any time. But at the same time, I didn't get the gaijin pass. Like, even though I'm like 100% American on the inside, I'm very cocky. I'm on the narcissistic side. But the Japanese people, it's different. They think of me as a narcissistic Japanese guy, which is like a really bad thing. But if I looked foreign, then they'll like accept me as that.
No, you're just a foreigner that is narcissistic, but here the opposite is not true.
Yes.
Okay.
So it was actually hard for me to get accepted. I felt like a barrier. Like I haven't experienced the other side, looking foreign and being foreign. So I don't know which is easier. But for me, it was really hard to actually be a part of the Japanese society. Of course, I was fluent in Japanese. I know Japanese stuff and I can follow the Japanese custom, but I never really thought that I was really accepted in the Japanese culture, even though I was invited inside very quickly.
Was there an event in particular that kind of made you realize this?
It's still going on. honestly, as of right now, I still don't feel really accepted. It's not a bad thing.
You were saying in other interviews, I believe, that kind of to adapt to life in Japan, you created alternate personalities.
Oh yeah. Actually, yeah. So I grew up 18 years in the United States, but since people just accept me as Japanese, just see me as Japanese, I don't really want to make stuff about me when I like first meet someone, or like if it's a big group, or if it's like the barbershop and they're talking to me. I'm not saying that I'm from LA, because it's gonna be my turn for a really long time.
Oh, I see.
Like, oh really, how was it in LA? I don't want it to be about me, especially when like they want to talk to everyone. I'm gonna take up a lot of time. So I created a alternate personality that I grew up in Atsugi, Kanagawa, and grew up my whole adolescence in Japan. So I actually studied what the Japanese people watched. Like, I actually grew up watching like Cartoon Network and Nickelodeon, but I actually studied Crayon Shinchan and Doraemon as part of a way to like complete my alternate personality. Like the Japanese textbooks, I grew up like with these hardcover textbooks like as an American, but I actually bought from Mercari, like the Japanese part of like Japanese eBay, like those textbooks that I was born in 98, but like 98 kids
would have studied
back
here in Japan.
So I can like keep up with the conversation.
What did you, how did you come up with this idea? Were you just in your room one day and be like, I'm going to create a completely new persona and I'm going to go buy all these books and study and kind of become a new me?
Well, it's just an alternate personality I just use in some ways. It's not really like a new me, but it was taking up a lot of time. Like for every conversation, it was taking up like 20 to 30 extra minutes to introduce myself. So I thought if I just spent this 6 months actually studying the Japanese culture, studying Japanese adolescents, 90s kids, and coming up with a new personality, I can probably save 20 to 30 minutes of new interactions where I'm not really eager to open myself up. So, and I think over time, it would be worth it to spend that 6 months to save that 20, 30 minutes. I thought that would build up.
Mm-hmm. So a very pragmatic approach.
Yes.
In a way, you mentioned creating this alternate personality to kind of mingle more with the people here without kind of having to explain your background in LA. Yeah. But you also said earlier that when there's this mismatch between your kind of American personality of having grown up there, do you feel like in a way you're suppressing that too when you kind of create yourself a persona that grew up here, whereas you actually didn't?
So I do have both American side and the Japanese side. As an American side, I want to show my personality. But as a Japanese, I kind of want to read the room. So if I'm eager to open up myself, having like a long-term relationship with that person, yes, I'm not going to use my alternate personality, but like one-time barbershops or like big-time nomikais where I'm never going to meet all these people ever again. You know, we have those times where we meet, and I don't want to take up their time. I don't want to take up other people's time. So I'm just saying, oh, where were you born? Oh, I was born in Atsugi. Where were you? Oh, Atsugi middle school. Like, what'd you do? Oh, I was playing soccer. And yeah, that's my turn's over.
Did you ever slip up in your story where you kind of...
So it's not perfect. So what I do is I just listen to other Japanese people's stories. I kind of like average it to make up like an really average Japanese growing up story. But since like I did not really grow up in Japan, like say example, like school drills. In the US, we prepare for shootings. There's this alarm called shelter in place. Like there's an alarm going on, and we kind of like lock in our classrooms, find like the hard corners of like the sturdy corners of our classroom where the shooter can't see us, and we have like a drill to like not allow the shooter in and stuff. But in Japan, like that doesn't exist.
Yeah.
They prepare for earthquakes. And they think it's funny when I say in America we prepare for shootings. Like they think it's a joke, but it's not a joke. Yeah. So I kind of live a joke. I grew up a joke to Japanese people. So it's that different. So when they talk about drills of earthquakes, like, I don't know anything. I have to bullshit everything. It's like, oh yeah, I did that.
It's interesting that the conversation even goes that way, right? Like if in a Western context, when you introduce yourself to someone, you don't necessarily talk about what kind of drills you had in school.
Yeah, but like if you get like really close to them, like they talk about nostalgic stuff and stuff.
Interesting.
When it gets to that part, like I pretend like, yeah.
So when you came back to Japan, you created yourself an alternate personality to kind of insert yourself. But one other thing you did is you brought back cap throwing.
Oh, yeah.
And so I had never heard of this until I met you and kind of researched what you did. How did you get into this, and why did you decide to bring this back? And also for context, for people that don't know, I have a cap here.
Oh, yeah.
We're talking about bottle caps.
Bottle caps. Let me see this.
So we are not talking about...
So I can basically do anything with this cap.
That's
with
crazy.
Any speed and...
So how is this even a thing? Who thought about taking bottle caps and throwing them?
I think people have been flicking bottle caps throughout the history of humanity, like bored humanity.
I don't know. I've never seen this in France.
Oh, really? But I think there were some people, but I took this to like a professional extent. I think I'm like the first person in the world that actually was able to make a living out of this. And I was basically alone in this sport. I'm calling this a sport because I can.
Well, we will get to this, but yeah.
Yeah. I was alone. So I just wanted a lot of other people to do it with me. And all I did was just stand out, say that this was a fun sport, kind of like gaslighted the whole country into thinking this was a fun sport. I did a lot of social media stuff, traditional media stuff, standing in front of people. Basically, I really did just gaslight the whole country into thinking this was actually a popular sport at one point, which even if it wasn't. And that was really easy. That was when I thought standing out in Japan is super easy. Because I was always an attention hog, attention seeker as a kid.
Mm-hmm.
And even in my school, it was challenging to become like a class clown and stuff. Like even like in a local classroom and stuff, I had to fight for that spot. But in Japan, nobody wants to stand out. Nobody's an attention seeker. The competition was like basically non-existent. So all I had to do was just try to stand out. And
so you arrived in Kyoto University, and I think on your inauguration day, when all the students introduced themselves, you said, "I'm gonna make a Kappenage club," and you did.
I did.
And that turned into a professional league here in Japan. I was looking it up today. There's actually a website with a league with teams playing each other.
Yeah, and stats and stuff.
This is crazy.
This is. Like, I basically bullshitted my way into creating a sport.
But can you take me to the steps? So you have this idea of doing this, and you're like, I'm gonna make something crazy out of it and gaslight the country.
Yeah.
But then you didn't just do big talk, you actually did it. So how did you go from like that speech in Kyoto to now there's an official website for a league in Japan and people playing this, and this is being organized and structured, and there are games, and like this takes more than just...
I started with big talk, and I kind of like catched up upon afterwards, because there's no one that really does big talk, and people trust big talk because in the US, if there's people like bullshitting, we kind of like fact check it. But in Japan, Japanese people don't really do big talk. So they kind of accept it first. Like this guy might have an idea. Like they kind of start with like the trust. So I was in Kyoto University. I said I'm going to create a club. And I said that this is going to be a popular sport in 5 years. This is big talk. Like, I was basically the only person in the country who's doing it. But I had no evidence, anything to back me up with that talk. But people trusted me because I was being confident.
That's interesting.
And then people joined the club. And I kind of made it a really open club. Like, it didn't really have to be people from Kyoto University. And I was able to attract, I think, about 70 to 80 people within the first semester without knowing anyone in the university. And then that's when I brought it to TV. And I said, hey, this is sport that's really going up around Kyoto and Kyoto University. And it's really popular. I already have 70 people joining. And then TV people. This is big talk. Like, massive talk. But I just posted the video. Oh, and I kind of like, okay, this is the first time I'm actually going to talk about this. But I made up games. Like, I made up like an exhibition game.
So not just like, okay, you throw this, but set up like games and rules.
Yeah, games and rules, like baseball style. And I thought this was a fun game, but since no one really played it, I kind of made up people to represent fake teams. They were all my friends, but I made them represent different areas of Japan and different schools and stuff. Did fake games. Everything was staged.
And the TV bought it.
And the TV bought it. And I first posted on YouTube. Every games went to, I think, 1 million views at least. People thought, okay, so there's a sport where we throw bottle caps and hit it. And this is going around in universities in Japan.
And everyone can do it because everyone drinks a bottle and you can just take the cap and do it.
And the games are interesting because it's staged. Like, back and forth, going back and forth. If I were to dominate, then I would cut out the scenes. I would dominate too much. Like, different scenes, like even if it's like a foul ball, didn't really do anything, but we kind of like edit it into it being a home run and stuff.
When you see that by doing this
yes.
kind of big talk and you get so much attention,
yes.
and then you do more big talk and you stage games and people give you even more attention,
yes.
do you start thinking like, how far can we take this?
Yes, that was exactly my thought when I was 18, 19. So I said it was a popular sport that is going up. It's like on the rise. It did catch on later. So I did lie at that point, but it wasn't a lie. It turned out to not be a lie. And I thought it was fair and okay if it turned out to not be a lie and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So that was what my motivation was after the big talk. Now I had to kind of like back it up later. So I had to really create a league. And I really had to create a competition. And since people watched that videos and thought it was interesting, and the technique itself wasn't made up. I really can't do what I just did on camera. So it was possible. So people did actually follow me from different universities, different areas, and it became a fad in Japan, like a nationwide fad.
Staging the games and playing this with your university friends
yes.
is one thing, but when you start having to organize it and actually create proper teams from different universities and have the tournaments, then it becomes professional.
Yes.
Then you need to think about, okay, well, we need a venue, we need to coordinate all of these things, and then it becomes a job. How did you manage kind of that transition in a way?
Well, at that point, there were people with me that was working on this sport. And as of right now, the sport is completely independent from me. It's running on its own. But the transition was, well, first of all, there was monetary issues, like renting stadiums and stuff. And like at that point, big talk was just my profession. So I got sponsors, and that was really easy. Yeah, once it started rolling, it was easy. Like, didn't really have any big issues. I was kind of at that point moving along with my life. I was kind of being independent from that sport that I made. How far it went was I was able to be in a commercial for Coca-Cola, and I would consider that as a pinnacle of that sport.
When you kind of started proclaiming that you do this on the stage of Kyoto University, did you think it will take you to the commercial spot on Coca-Cola or become a league on its own in the future? Did you have an actual dream behind the big talk, or was it more just for fun?
I think I thought it was possible. Like, I would like to say that I had a dream behind it, and I was delusional, and I'm still delusional. So yeah, I did really think that this was possible, but at the same time, I kind of knew that I was doing big talk. So when I got the offer from Coca-Cola, hey, you want to be in a commercial? I wasn't that surprised.
You were like, oh, finally.
I was like accepting it. But from like my high school or middle school like perspective, like, it's funny that I'm accepting like an offer from Coca-Cola that easily. Like, yeah, not bad.
You're working on all of these things, but you're technically still a student at Kyoto University. Did you start considering, like, what am I going to do with my studies?
Well, I was I was a 2.0 GPA student in high school, like a local public high school. And there was no way I was making it out of Kyoto University.
So you made it in easily, but out was a different story.
It was impossible from the start. If I think about it, I was big talking in the entrance exam. Like, so yeah, I gaslighted my way into Kyoto University.
And you gaslighted the country into a cup throwing league. And you just said, big talk is your profession.
Yes.
And that's kind of what you did. You became a comedian.
Yes. And that's when I stopped the big talk, actually.
Interesting.
So big talk was part of my thing. But being a comedian, I'm actually a kohai of Nick-san. Nick-san, I think he was
on the show.
Yeah, before. This is my 4th year as a comedian. And comedy in Japan, I think he's covered this part a lot. It's highly competitive. Everything is thought out. You can't really bullshit your way through it. So, and everyone's doing big talk. So even if I were to do big talk, which I do, I'm a stand-up comedian in Japan. Like, I don't do the traditional manzai.
Mm-hmm.
I don't do konta. I do stand-up comedy in Japan, which I'm like a minority. I think I'm like the only guy doing it at this like age group. But
so it's an industry where people are already standing out. People want to stand out, and suddenly it's harder and you don't. It's harder to kind of compete in that field.
Yeah, like there's a technique into talking, like the way how I look, how I use my gestures and stuff. There's like an atmosphere of like you have to be really funny to actually make it through. It's kind of like cooler to be underrated in the comedy world. So I was really good at being overrated.
The big talk.
Big talk. Like I was overrating myself, and I was like selling my overratedness to people. I was overrating the sport that I created and stuff. But in the comedy world, it's just not accepted. Like it's just not how you can do it. It's really like a sport, like athletics. Like you can't really bullshit your way through going into the major leagues.
Mm-hmm.
You really have to throw like a 95-mile fastball. Like you can't bullshit your way through being signed to like Manchester City. Like you really have to dribble. You really have to shoot. You actually have to understand. So since I was really good at overrating myself, I kind of got delusional with where I'm at.
So how did you adapt to that change? You kind of suddenly enter a world that is forcing you to rethink a little bit how you do things and how you approach things.
And I'm still in the part of this path, but I started to completely open up myself. I stopped everything that I used to do, like big talk and lying in a sense. I stopped doing that. I kind of stopped covering up my emotions and stuff. I once again start to live as Wakkyai, just like my
Just you.
person, one to one, and it's really fun. It's kind of like going back to my childhood. Like I'm basically experiencing childhood again right now. Like you don't really think about anything during a kid. You just be yourself and do what you do, say what you think.
And now you do it intentionally.
Yes.
Wakkyai Reborn.
Yeah.
You made a lot of comedy series in stand-up. One of
Yes.
them is like the news reports.
Yes.
I think that was pretty popular. Can you tell me a little bit about the idea? How did you come up with making that series, and what was the idea behind it?
So that was kind of part of opening up myself, just broadcasting my normal life as if it was a big deal. Like I ran out of toilet paper, or like
And that made the headlines.
yeah, that made the headlines and stuff like that. Like dressed up as a news reporter, and I just reported stuff around me. Like I won in an argument with my friend or something like that.
That made page 2.
Yeah.
Stand-up comedy is interesting because my image of it is you go to a local stand-up comedy bar,
Yeah.
and you've got people taking the mics and
Yeah.
making and kind of sharing the skits they wrote and stuff.
Yeah.
But you're doing it professionally in a way that you're part of a comedy group, or like
Yeah.
a Waraigeinin company, right?
Yeah.
And so there's a bit more infrastructure behind, and you said you're the only one in your age category doing it at the moment in Japan. How different? Can you tell us about stand-up comedy in Japan versus like how it is in the United States, for example?
I actually haven't really experienced professionally in the United States, so can't really talk on that behalf. But in Japan, the crowd isn't really here to laugh,
Interesting.
which is really weird.
Because it's
Yeah,
comedy. You
because-
go
yeah,
there because you want to have a laugh.
You pay, and there's shows that like nobody's entertained. Like I have some shows that go really bad, like 4 minutes I come up and talk and no reaction. Other people go up and no reaction. Like they literally paid 2,000 yen to come and sit there for 2 hours. Like I feel like it feels ironical, but comedy is kind of like people are kind of testing your skits. Like they're kind of judging your skits in a way. They're like judges. And they kind of find that funny too. Like they are here to laugh, but they're here to judge at the same time.
How do you deal with a situation where you go out on stage and you speak for 4 minutes, say things that you thought would be funny and
Yeah.
get a reaction, and then you get nothing? I think if that would happen to me, I'd be terrified.
You get humbled. And I said it's kind of like a sport. It's like having a bad game. You know that, okay, this isn't enough. And you kind of have to be better at it. I think comedy in comedy in the US, I don't think it doesn't go to that much an extent. I think you can blame it on the crowd. Like every show is different. In Japan, every show is different. There's different crowds, but the atmosphere is kind of similar. Like you kind of know that if you have a good skit or not. So you just kind of know where you're at like a comedy level. Like comedy level, it's...
So what makes up those levels? How do you, as a professional comedian in that industry, you described yourself as like the kohai of Nick Nissan, which we had on the podcast, but also like in your 4th year.
Yeah.
If I were to talk to a foreign comedian, I don't think they would really describe it in a way that, I'm a 4th year comedian, as it is like a profession. It's like, I'm a comedian, I make jokes, and I work on it and I improve. But
I try to be funny.
Yeah. but you
job,
like 4th year kohai of someone, there's like this kind of
hierarchy system. So I do it alone, so that's a different hurdle too, but there's many factors to it. The originality and how unexpected it is. That might be part of originality. How well executed it is. How like good to the ears it is.
So what's your process to come up with a skit, to write it, to perfect it?
For me, I start up with like a hot take. And I say like, I think this is this.
So the
like,
McDonald's theory.
Yeah, come up with like a theory. And it sounds absurd at first because it's my original theory. And I try to like back it up with my opinions and my like stories and stuff. And trying to like kind of persuade the crowd like to think it's real and stuff. Like for me, one theory I have is like fist bumps, like gatsupose.
Mm-hmm.
Like it have to be limited to what you do.
How
like,
so?
So, if you're an Olympic athlete, if you win a point, yeah, you can do all these fist bumps. Like,
mm-hmm. Okay.
But if you like, I don't know, like a B+ on a test, it'd be like all of a sudden it turns into a weird act. Like you turn into a weirdo. So I was thinking like, what accolades or like what achievement, like what kind of fist bump you can do to like how you're limited to
mm-hmm.
what fist bump. Like I was kind of like making like an equation of.
So for this you can
do up to here.
Yeah.
And after that you turn into a weirdo.
Have you seen some of your theories kind of go viral and be picked up then by society, by people, where it kind of becomes a joke at universities with students, with people that are working?
Not yet, but I think it will. I kind of limited myself from doing too much social media because it gets too much reactions.
Do you mean too many different opinions?
Too many different opinions, or just I kind of lose where I'm at.
Mm-hmm.
But if I train myself in front of like a professional community or like a crowd, like I'm kind of in a process. It's my training arc in anime. Like I'm not trying to go big as of right now. I'm like basically in a cave, like a comedy cave, in a comedy mountain, and just keep on training. And then if I know that I'm ready to fight, then I'm trying to go.
It's like the time skip in One Piece. Something like that. Interesting.
Basically, I'm in my training arc right now. And I know social media and I know how to do what I can do, like overrate myself and stuff. So first, I need to train my like skits and jokes and write a lot. So, yeah.
But if you train jokes and skits that are meant for an audience, but you only practice them with a very small segment of that audience or other professional comedians, when do you know I'm ready? Or when do you know your jokes are good enough to go out there in the world?
If I can make those people laugh. Like that's when I know, because those people are the toughest crowd in Japan. If I can make them laugh, I can make the whole country laugh. You
described the Coca-Cola ad as a pinnacle of your professional capturing career.
Yeah.
What is your goal for comedy? Is there anything you're dreaming of achieving in that?
So in terms of achievements, there's a tournament called the R1 Grand Prix, which is basically a tournament, a televised tournament to choose who's the funniest comedian in Japan. It's an annual event. And I'm usually at the quarterfinals of that event, which is like top 100. And under like the 5th year age group, I'm usually at the semifinals, which is top 50.
And you're preparing for the one from this year at the moment, I think the R5.
R1. The under 5, yeah. I actually lost at the semifinals. I made it into the semifinals. So basically, I'm a top 5 single stand-up comedian, but that's not enough for anything. And yeah.
How do these competitions work? How do you measure who goes through? Is it based on an applause meter that kind of...
there's judges.
And what do those judges look for? Because I feel like humor and a joke is very personal. It's very subjective.
Yes.
You and I might laugh at something completely different.
Yes.
And we might laugh at the same thing, but for completely different reasons as well.
So we do it in front of a crowd. So I think they put into like crowd reaction in some extent, but they just judge on funniness.
Interesting. So it's very loose. And your dream would be to kind of win the big one, to get to the top there. What does it take to get there? Many more years in the training cave?
I actually don't know. Like, that's what's really funny. Like, I don't really know what I have to do to be funny. You know, I never really thought about it, but now I am. And I'm kind of getting a sense, like, this is what I have to do, but having a character, having a strong character, having a strong identity in your comedic sense, I think that's a really strong factor.
You talked about the dangerous challenges of social media.
Yeah.
Your accounts kind of really blew up. You mentioned your videos earlier reaching over 1 million views. And your YouTube account sits at 700,000, but you decided to kind of step away from this.
Yes, and that's going back to my point of having a strong identity, having a strong character. Like, if you listen to the crowds or just different people, and if like the numbers get to you, like you think views are what's considered funny. If it gets more views, if it's good, that's away from your character, because that's not you. You're just looking at numbers, which is a collective of other people. Like, having a strong identity is you just looking into what you think is funny, and you just build that up within yourself, and having time to just like sit down with your jokes, spend time having a coffee, stuff like that. It's kind of like a weird way to express it, but I think that's what's important. Like, thinking who you are and what you think is funny, and just sharpening that knife is, I think, what's needed.
When did you decide, I'm gonna leave the university and I'm gonna become a comedian?
It was always a thought from when I was a kid. I've always wanted to be the funniest kid in my class, in my school. Just kind of like, just encho. How do you say it? Encho. Just like on that line.
Yeah, little by little, kind of natural.
Yeah, natural thing. It just got bigger. Now I want to be the funniest guy in the country. But yeah, it came really natural to me.
Do you feel that also kind of stepping into comedy in Japan is a way for you to reconnect with the culture and to kind of break the wall and the cultural differences through humor?
Yes, very. And as I said, comedy has very different aspects, and in the Japanese industry, relativeness, like how you can relate to it, is a really big factor too. Like, if you can relate to a joke or like relate to something,
like running out of toilet paper,
or something, it gets funnier. But since I do stand-up comedy that's coming out from me, and I have an American identity, it's kind of really hard to relate to my jokes. So I can't really use that aspect. And I kind of try to like fit into the Japanese way of thinking, so I can kind of like make that part easier, like have like an easier laugh. But I just noticed I can't do that because I grew up in the US. I can't really make that up. So I'm trying to like fight just as me, like having a Japanese family, but an American identity and an American character. And I just have to fight through to the point where that gets accepted. And I don't know how, I don't know when, but I just know that it's gonna be there sometime. Yeah, there's different stuff. Really different topic, but being the cool kid is really different in Japan and in the US.
How so?
It's like the opposite. So in Japan, guy with no character, basically, if you don't stand out at all, and if you can read the room, like the read the roomness is what makes you popular. You wear what other people wear. You find what's funny. You find funny what other people find funny.
You watch the same thing other people watch.
And you play a sport that a lot of people play. That's what makes you popular in Japan. Like the uncharacteredness makes you the cool kid. But in the United States, standing out is cooler. Like how you like kind of express your identity, how you don't fit in the norms. I think even if it's in a bad way or a good way, you kind of get respected in the US, you know? Like if you're different, you kind of get some type of respect. But in Japan, they just considered it as the not cool kid. Just like the weird kid. So that's what kind of came to me first. Like,
so this is a thing you can kind of get everyone to relate about through comedy as well.
Yeah.
And the experience in school or at university too.
People like cool kids in Japan a lot. Like, it's actually a thing. Like, it can help you throughout careers, even as a salaryman or something. Like, the uncharacteristicness is something that you kind of have to achieve as a skill. And I can't do that. So it's kind of like the hard way. I kind of feel the headwind, but that's stuff I have to fight through. People just consider me like the not cool kid, the way I act and stuff. It's just my identity. I'm just showing my identity out, but that's something I kind of struggle with.
Humor is a very cultural element too. You just described the struggles of making it work here in Japan and having people relate. Have you ever thought about making a comedy in the United States where you can relate to everyone's upbringing?
Actually. I kind of started doing short English skits on Instagram, and it worked out really well. Like I think few to none American audiences on my Instagram followers. But I once posted like a full English video, and I have made probably 10 or something. Every one of them blew up. I think millions of views, stuff like that, flooded with American comments. And I gained probably like 2,000 followers each day when I uploaded it, but kind of stopped. The reason is I'm probably going to lose and have a sense of where I'm at.
Yeah, it will prevent you from actually getting better at comedy. That's what you're saying.
Yeah.
Interesting. So you want to go through the struggle.
Yeah.
The struggle. It's a shonen story.
Yeah, I was really good at taking the easy route. I was a professional from being a kid. I was really good at. I cheated on tests. I took the easy way route into going into a university. I gaslighted my way into making cap baseball a sport in Japan.
So what makes you want to change all of that and just go the hard route now?
Maybe because I want to live as myself.
So no more alternate personalities from Atsugi.
Yeah.
Where was it? Kanagawa?
Kanagawa.
Yeah.
The more competitive you get as a person yourself, you kind of get the right to live as the person yourself. Like, that's a privilege, I think. Like, if you don't have the competitiveness, if you don't have the ability to fight as who you are, then you kind of have to make up who you are, do big talks and stuff like that. But yeah, since throughout my whole life, I took the easy route, I just kind of lost my identity. So I'm trying to fight it back, I guess.
So what's next on your journey as Wakkyai here in Japan as a comedian?
I don't know. I just want to have fun. And I think that's a privilege as being a kid. Having responsibilities is one thing, but having no responsibilities is another thing. And I think the competitiveness is, I think, what gives you that privilege. Like, if you're like really good at soccer, you get the privilege of being a kid, you know? You can do whatever you want. You can say whatever you say just because you're really competitive at soccer. Kind of like that.
So for people that want to see you perform, since you're not posting so much on social media anymore, where can they come find you and see some of your skits?
Literally the undergrounds of Shinjuku. like when I say underground comedy, I literally mean like B2.
So like deep down underground. We in B1 here, so you go even further down below, and that's where people can find
Bad
you.
Wi-Fi.
All right. We'll make sure to link everything in the description so people can find your skits.
Thanks.
Do you feel like we covered your story? Was there anything else you may have wanted to bring up that we didn't get to talk about today?
There's a lot of stuff that I haven't really talked on other media. Like first time I've really talked about my life a lot. So
well, it was a very interesting story. I hope our listeners enjoyed it just as much as I did.
Hopefully.
Wakkyai, also known as Wakkyai, your comedian alias. Thank you so much for coming and visiting us in our studio today and sharing your story.
Yeah.
Thank you everyone for listening and watching. This was Unpacking Japan, and we'll be back again soon. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us today. I hope you enjoyed this episode as much as I did. Please hit the subscribe button so you don't miss out on future conversations. And we'd love to hear from you. Share your thoughts in the comment section down below. And if you enjoyed this episode, here are a couple more that we think you'll enjoy. Thanks again for your support, and we'll see you next time.